And welcome. And usually on Thursdays, I do what's called Wasting Time with Kenzie. Uh, we're broadcasting from the Kenzie Days studio. Kenzie Days' studio because, it's our studio. Um, I'm Tracy Glenn. I'm Kenzie Day's dad. Today, on what I'm calling Getting to Know You, is I have Mr. Angelo, Bob Angelo. He is a former podcaster from a group called Mouse Chat, right?
Yeah,
Mouse
that
Chat,
is correct.
Bob.
Yep.
Um, Pixie Vacations was the sponsor for Podcheck. I remember that. And believe it or not, that is the easiest and simplest way for me to remember that vacation. How could you forget Pixie
Right.
Vacations?
A great name, right? It's one of the best things they did when they formed their travel agency. Yeah.
Hi, Stevie Lee. Hi, AJC Magic. Hi, Pearl Manhattan. How are you? And welcome to the stream. So, Bob, this is your first time ever on YouTube, correct?
Yes, and thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here. And hey, everybody out there.
Hi, Noah. Um, so if you're looking on StreamYards, you'll see on to the side there's a chat where it says where people are popping in. Those are live chatters. Those are people who are
Oh,
actually currently watching us.
okay.
And so this is the good thing about this is we can interact with the people watching us.
Oh, neat. Right. You can see their comments. Okay. Yeah, that's cool. Okay. That's
So,
very different than
so
podcasting. Sure.
very so. I mean, they used to do live podcasting. I've heard people do the live podcasting. I think there's a couple people doing that currently. Um, uh, as you can see right now, we have Stevie Lee, Kenzie Days. That's my daughter, Kenzie Days. Hello, your studio, broadcasting from Kenzie Days. Pearl Manhattan. Noah from Big Noah's Mountain. Mike
Hey,
Wheeler,
Pam.
welcome in,
Yep.
Mike Wheeler. Jeffrey Resendez. Hello, Jeffrey. Hi, Pam. How you
Hey.
doing? AJC Magic, Amy, how are you? Thank you for joining us today too. Pam Spam, how are you? Lady Jammers, awesome day. Thank you for joining.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
it's a little different. It's
Yeah.
great.
Yes.
So to let everybody know, I kind of let the spilled the beans yesterday. I seen that it was Bob Angelo's birthday yesterday on Facebook, and you know what? Thank goodness there's a Facebook because we get to know when everybody's birthday is.
That's right. Yeah, and it tells you to call and send a message. Right. Yeah.
So, and usually for me, it's a quick happy birthday and move on. And some people like it and comment thank you, and that's cool. I like seeing my birthday post when it's my birthday. So, May 6th, just putting it out there.
Okay.
Um,
Got something in your throat.
oh, right there. Um, and I reached out because I started live streaming about 3 weeks ago. I started doing 4 o'clock on Thursdays. And today's environment, there's a lot of people live streaming currently on the YouTube channels. And I thank you all for who is currently here watching. So I reached out to Bob Angelo. He no longer podcasts, but we'll get to that in the future and a couple questions. And I said, would you like to come on and do a live stream with me? And he said, I don't know what that is.
Because I'm old.
You can't be older than me.
Well, yeah. Well, I don't know, but yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I'm 39 with 6 years experience.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So no matter what you do, you're 39 with how many experience you want on it.
Okay.
So, it's my 6th year at being 39.
All right.
So I might be a young whippersnapper,
We're
but
we're right around the same age. I'm 39 with 5 years experience.
oh, see, I
Yeah.
told you you're not older than me. It's cool. Hello,
So.
Rachel. Welcome to the stream. So, Bob.
Yes.
Let's get down to a couple of questions.
Yep.
All right. How long have you been a fan of Disney?
Oh gosh, probably since I was a little kid. I always into the Disney movies and stuff, and then I think it really started to grow for me when I was in high school and college, and I really wanted to get down there when I was in college because I hadn't been back to the park since I was about 4 with my family. And so I went with a college buddy, and it was the 25th anniversary of the Magic Kingdom.
Oh,
So
oh.
the big, yeah, I know.
So you got the birthday cake castle.
Yes, I got the birthday cake castle, and so that was different.
Oh,
Especially
that
since it
had
was,
to be interesting.
yeah, and especially since it was they only did it up like in the front, so like you'd
Really?
see it all big pink and stuff, and then on the sides and in the back it was, who sees the back? So
Well, it's Disney. I'm surprised they didn't totally theme it. That's usually their big thing. They
yeah,
go all out. But
but
yeah, so you got the big cake.
yeah, but you know what? I was hooked. And from there, I was, that was really something for me to the parks were just everything. And after I graduated college, I made the decision to move down to Florida. Didn't even have a job. I didn't have a place to live. I had job interviews lined up, packed up my stuff, moved from New Jersey, interviewed at a bunch of places, and whoever hired me first, that was where I was going to live. So I ended up living about an hour outside of Orlando, and then through the years living in Florida, I ended up going to law school in Orlando, and so yeah, I've been an annual pass holder, I think, for decades now. So yeah.
So Bob, I have a
Yeah.
question from one of my viewers. It says,
Yeah.
I'm curious if Bob ever heard of a group called RADP, Rex Arts Disney Parks, or Mouse Fest back in the 1990s. I never heard of it, Amy.
No. What is it? What's it about?
I have no idea. So maybe she'll fill us in. Amy, whenever you get a chance, just fill us in, and we'll discuss that further.
I'm reading Mike's comment. Pepto-Bismol cake. All right, we don't talk about it. Right.
A Pepto-Bismol cake. Just to let you know, Mike is an extraordinary person. He's visually impaired, and he rocks YouTube as a moderator, and just an all-around fan of the people that were out there. And he doesn't put that disability in front of anything. He makes it, and I love seeing him every time.
Oh, great!
And Mike, my fingers, only the purple's halfway out, so I got about another couple months before they're gone. Stuck my finger in a snowblower, Bob. It wasn't good.
Ooh.
So so you watch the movies.
Yep.
And that's how you fell in love. And you fell in love right from the start. Right from the time you showed up and seen that big purple Pepto-Bismol cake, you said,
that's where I want to be.
I don't ever want to see this life. That's where I want to be.
That's yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I actually had I remember the Disney Ball, the Millennium Celebration.
Oh yeah, Epcot.
Yeah. And they had 2000 along the top of it.
With the little wand,
Epcot
right?
On it.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So our first trip, we went to Disney. It was in 2005, and the hand still had the Epcot hand was still next to the ball. So while you had the cake, and everybody looks back at it and says, "Well, that was a bad design." I remember my daughter at the age of 3.5 looking at it and saying, "Wait a minute, is that Mickey's hand?"
He's huge.
But for me, even though everybody looks at that hand as something that was not or wasn't cool to be there on the Epcot ball, without that hand on the Epcot ball, I wouldn't have that magical memory with my daughter.
Yeah. I think it, and that's the thing. I mean, yes, the Pepto-Bismol castle is, looking back, it's like, wow, that was probably a little over the top, but just being there, the whole experience is special to me.
So Amy said they are a big Disney fan group. Deb Wills from allears.net started a Mouse Fest in Disney fans to meet up and socialize. That's what that group. So no, Amy, I never heard of that, but cool information.
So Deb Wills has been in this for a long time. Okay.
Oh,
I know the name from All Ears. Okay. That's
who doesn't know someone like I remember when I fell out of listening to podcasts probably about 5 years ago. So I right about the same time that you were coming, like moving up this way.
Yeah,
Because you're from the northeast now,
I am.
looking to relocate, from what I understand. So
Yeah.
plus, um,
Yes, excuse the mess behind me. Those are packing boxes.
oh, that's you're moving to the Sunshine State, Bob.
Yes,
The
once again,
Sunshine State.
glad to be doing it. Looking to move this summer. So if you see boxes and a chaos behind me, I apologize. It's kind of hard to pack up an entire house. So
Hello, in. Welcome to Our Dream, Jeff or Angela, whichever one it is. Welcome to the stream. So, was your wife a fan before she met you of Disney?
oh yeah, she and I actually met on a Disney message board years earlier on the Disboards.
Okay, I was a
yeah.
member there at
Yeah,
one point
so
in
it
time.
was like a singles meetup, and they had a thread or like they had a sub forum or something. And so we agreed to meet. This would have been 2008, I think, initially when she and I first met. And she was from New York, and I was living in Florida. And I was living in Orlando. And so we met up at a pirate and princess party, which I know they don't do those anymore, but that was great. I wish they would bring those back. If anybody remembers those were awesome. That was it was a private event. It was like a ticketed event, like not so
like
scary
after
and
hours.
stuff. Yeah, well, like, kind of more like not so scary and stuff, but like they had special parade and fireworks and stuff, and yeah, it was just nice. So we met there and we spent a bunch of time together throughout the weekend and really got to know one another, and I guess really started dating at that point, but it was a distance thing, and it didn't really work out because all her family was in New York and I was in Florida. So we parted ways. She ended up marrying her ex. I ended up marrying my ex. And then years later, we reconnected and picked right back up. And throughout this whole time, we've had that mutual love of Disney, and I think that was one of the main factors that brought us together and got us talking. And the DVC was hers too, so that didn't hurt.
No, doesn't hurt at all.
So now it's ours.
DVC.
Yeah,
I got out of this was DVC.
Yeah.
So, who would you say is a bigger fan of Disney, you or your wife?
Ooh, that's a good question. It might actually be a tie. Yeah, I mean, because we're both pass holders, both have been. She made the DVC investment, so I mean, I guess you got to tip the hand to her there. But I mean, our house has a lot of Disney stuff, a lot of collectibles. We've done Disney cruises. We've gone to Disneyland multiple times.
I want to get to Disneyland. That's one of my things I want to do.
Oh,
I know they say it's small, but we haven't gotten out to the West Coast yet.
It's small, but it's different, and it's intimate, and you really feel Walt's hand and his presence there. I know that sounds silly, maybe, but you really do. I love it out there. It's awesome, and I love the West Coast. So, yeah, if you've never been out to Disneyland, anybody, that's where you need to be. Oh, Griswold Family Vacays in the house. Hey.
Yes.
What?
Hey, Kens. Come here, sir. Oh,
hello,
sorry.
Hello. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, Griswold Family Vacation. Thank you for showing up.
Yeah.
So the next podcasting, we're going to get into a little bit. What made you start podcasting back in the day?
Steve and Lisa, actually, who owned Pixie Vacations, so Mouse Chat was their idea. They came up with the idea of the podcast, as I'm sure, as a way to not only grow their business, because that would have been the early days of their travel agency, but I think also because they're huge Disney fans themselves, and theme park fans in general and stuff. And so they came up with the idea, and they had started the podcast, and I wasn't with them from the very beginning. They had another agent on there, Natalie, I think was her name, and she could no longer do it. And so I don't know what made them think of me, honestly. Let's find the guy that sounds like a cross between Ray Romano and Kermit and ask him to.
Oh, come on. You have a distinct voice, Bob. I do remember that voice. When I got in touch with you yesterday and we FaceTimed and we seen each other before we set all this up, I'm like, now I remember that voice.
Yeah. And so I don't know. Lisa asked me if I would like to do it. And I think I started initially as just kind of filling in, here and there and just a temporary thing, because I think Natalie was very busy with her family and other obligations. And then when she dropped out and could no longer do it, I just stayed on. So I did it for, I think, a few years with them. It was great.
No, I do remember. It was very informative. And again, obviously they're not a sponsor of mine, but just the name of their travel agency stuck out in my head when I hadn't been listening to podcasts in a couple of years, and we had thought about actually taking a plunge and doing a cruise and just inquiring. I remember Pixie Vacations, and it just happened to go right there.
And I think when I started looking for, I think I want to sell Disney Travel to people, and I started looking for agencies, that name stuck with me. Like, oh, that's clever. Like I should reach out to them. And that's how I ended up working with them. So,
and you know what? I'm not going to trout, because there's a lot of people, even in the YouTube community, who actually still do. They have their travel agents. I mean,
oh yeah, oh no, there's tons of agencies, and you can't go wrong. I mean, with any of them, yeah.
I mean, me and my wife, and we actually do most of our own planning. We haven't used a travel agent in our last, 2020? We've been going since 2005. So yeah, we've done 15 years and we've muddled through it the whole time.
Yeah.
But we've gotten better each year.
Right.
So, sorry, one of my batteries is dying.
Oh, no So I'm laughing because I just saw Pearl's comment that she says my voice is comforting because she likes Ray Romano and Kermit. So glad in these trying times that I can provide.
Right. No, it's so like. So what do you think? You said yourself that you had like a certain feel on that podcast, and what do you think your task or your job on that podcast was to be?
I don't think it initially set out,
or how it ended up being.
Yeah, I would say that's more accurate, because Lisa and Steve never came to me and said, we want you to be like this, or you need to be this kind of a personality. It just kind of developed into this role where I was the curmudgeon-y one. I was the one who, and so Chris, who was another one of the podcasters, not Chris Sharps, who's still currently on it, but a different Chris, another agent who's no longer with them. She and I would go back and forth a lot with, and we would bicker, and we didn't hate each other or anything. I don't want to give that impression. We just had differing opinions. And so we would kind of poke fun at each other, and I would, she would know how to get me going and I would know how to get her going. And I think sometimes, yes, there was a lot of friendly banter is a good way of how I would probably put it. But yeah, I was the guy who always said, like, I'm not going to look at everything that Disney does with rose-colored glasses, and you can still be a huge fan, and I am. I've probably been in the parks more than most people. I've logged hundreds, maybe thousands of trips into Walt Disney World parks. I've been to Disneyland multiple times, been on a dozen Disney cruises. I got married on a Disney cruise. I'm a huge fan, but that doesn't mean that everything they say or do is necessarily going to, wow me,
You're a
or that.
realist.
Yeah, exactly. So I was a realist about things.
You were the real. You wanted to be the realist, which everybody needs to. When I'm in Disney, I don't care. I know in the back of my mind how much money I'm spending, but I'm in Disney. I don't care. When I come home, the realist in me comes back and says,
Right. Right. And
"Wow."
it's worse as a local. I remember, because you're there all the time, so you're taking advantage of every single event. You're there for food and wine all the time, and you're there for during the Festival of the Arts. Look at all this artwork, and you're buying up all these collectibles and all the new stuff and all the new merchandise that is constantly out. You're buying it all the time. So yeah,
But
yeah.
but when you're in the park, you're not thinking that. You're thinking,
Oh, look how great it
I'm
is.
a
Yeah.
child. This
Right.
is
Yeah.
great.
This is
But
amazing. Yeah.
and but every once in a while, you do have to be a realist. But
Yeah. I think, like, I would take issue with, like, I used to joke that there are some people that, they could go to Disney World, and the Magic Kingdom could be on fire and they would still say that they had a great time. And I'm not.
Well, it did catch on fire, Bob.
Yeah, well, I did. It's true, it did, and people still had a great time. But
and they still had a great time.
They did still have, but
Oh yeah, I see. I know what I know what you're getting at, and you sometimes you just pointed out the realistic side of the whole.
Right. I mean,
of what's going on.
Right. I mean, if things were broken for extended periods of time, or there were maintenance issues, or the parks looked like they weren't being cared for, that just takes away from everybody's enjoyment, right? And you're paying a premium for the experience. So, and if you're going to say that you are this, this product or this company, and we're special and we're different, well, then you hold yourself to that standard. So
that's no, I totally agree. I mean, you hear the grumblings on the side currently of what's going on. Not that it's just that it's closed down, but you've heard of other things being taken away from the parks, and price hikes, and then you're missing a couple of things back and forth. Listen, it's a realist. I mean, you are paying a little bit higher, and then they're taking away what's the band down in England?
Oh yeah,
the British Revolution or something.
The British invasion, yes, British invasion. You're right. And I know they got rid of the drummers in Tokyo, and they got rid of, but some of that may be related to also the current situation with the closures, because those people were under contract. And
well, it could also be a point was maybe they weren't, who knows, maybe they were laid off or let go at a certain point, so they knew it was going to be a longer than what they initially had
right, for their benefit. Go find other opportunities if you can. We don't want to hold you to our contract. Right. I mean, I think it's important to realize, I think we all know, as Disney fans and as theme park fans, things are going to change. I mean, attractions will close, different ones will open, events will come and go. Price hikes, well, yeah, nobody likes them, but that's a part of life. I mean, there's price hikes everywhere.
It's part of business,
right? I mean,
part of business.
From whether you're a store in the mall or a gas station or whatever else. I mean, that's just. I mean, they have employees to pay and they have maintenance to do, and I mean, it's a big, it's a big responsibility, and it's certainly not keeping me from the parks or from renewing my annual pass or buying into DVC. And
that's why
we're here.
Most of us are doing it. That's why we love Disney, and while we may not be happy with it, but we're still going. And this is the community that I belong to, that I'm introducing, people to you. They're all big fans of Disney.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't want to give people, and I hope I'm not giving people the impression that, like, oh, he hates it. No, I'm quite the opposite. Quite the opposite. I've given them. If I added up all the money I gave them over the years,
we belong.
Yeah,
we are all members of the cult of Mickey.
Yes, for sure, and I would have it no other way. So
yes. So, what do you miss about podcasting?
I miss this. I mean, my wife just poked her head in a few minutes ago because she could hear me. I guess through the office door. But I miss the. I mean, even though you couldn't interact in real time on a podcast, um, just like just the fun that you would have just talking about the parks and whatever else. I mean, one week we might talk about Disney cruises, and another week we might talk about not so scary Halloween party or what's going on in the Disney community or whatever else. I mean, we had different topics every week. And I love the feedback from fans. We used to get email messages. We used to get, messages on the Facebook page. We used to have people meet us in the park who were so thrilled to meet us. And I never got over that. We met people during the 40th anniversary or not the 40th anniversary. Yeah, 40th anniversary of the Magic Kingdom. We ran into people at Epcot and they were blown away. Like that. Oh, we're so thrilled to meet you. Can we take a picture? Can you sign this? Sign things? No, I don't want. I'm not a celebrity. I'm just a guy. On Skype.
A lot of the guys that a lot of the channels that in this Disney community that I belong to, that I consider myself belonging to, we all came from we all started watching Disney on a YouTube streamer named Resort TV One. And when you're watching Josh and Jenna, who are amazing brother and sister, who bring Disney to Disney fans every Friday night at 6 o'clock, people. So that's a shameless plug for Resort TV One. If you have not, believe me, almost everybody in this chat is a huge fan of Resort TV One. And when you're not there and you can sit at home watching TV and watch Resort TV One, and it brings you right into that Disney feel.
Right.
And they still get stopped. Throughout the night, they'll get stopped, or somebody will come up to them and they'll say, "Hi, how are you? I can't believe we met you." So I can see that, and it feels special. I'm assuming.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And funny, quick story. I was probably a few years after I moved back up to New York. I was at the mall near my house, and I walk into the men's room, and a guy stops me in the men's room. "Oh my God, I can't believe it's you. You're Bob from Mouse Chat. I used to listen to your podcast. Can we take a picture? Can we not do this in the men's room?"
You do know that there's like always a space in between here.
Yeah, like whoa, and all I could think of was if you've ever seen the movie Coming to America, that scene where where that guy meets Eddie Murphy in the bathroom, and I can't believe it was you. It is you. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's cool. I could see. For me, I hadn't been chatting. I just started chatting, and I just started some streaming. I never expect anybody to say, "Hey, I've seen you on." Listen, I'm cool. I mean, I want to meet a lot of the people that I've seen in chat. Like when we're in Disney, because everybody knows we're from upstate New York. We're not getting down there a lot. We're getting down there probably around average once a year. And, we make a family trip of it. So we've went a little bit more this year. Annual passes do, I have a feeling annual passes cost more in the long run because you end up taking more trips. I think we bought an annual pass in August, and we've been August, November, and January of this year, and we had plans on being there next weekend for the Star Wars run. And we were planning on meeting a couple of our friends from the YouTube community down there, and we were going to do some running, and we were going to, enjoy some time together because that was the time. Hey, listen, am I upset that I'm not going to go down next weekend? Yes, I'm upset. Do I understand it? Yeah. Yes, I think, not to mention it, because if you mention it, there's a good chance that they'll just kill your stream. But flattening the curve, man, is taking it down. I'm considered an essential worker, so I'm going to work every day, and I try to stay and keep myself safe.
Well,
You know,
stay at home, people, because we need our Disney fix, right?
Ah,
I have,
yes,
I need the parks to reopen.
the more we stay home, the sooner we open.
I haven't even gotten on Rise of the Resistance yet, so I need to experience that. So,
Tracy, it is all right. Yes, Mike, it's fine if you want to post link. Actually, you know what? I actually have to do something here because someone did not charge his wireless earbuds. So while I'm untangling this, how many times do you think you have been to Disney?
oof, I mean, easily.
I have a I have a follow-up question.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, easily hundreds of times because, I mean, granted, I lived in Florida for 16 years before I moved back to New York. But I was an annual pass holder that whole time or most of that time. So I was logging trips consistently. And at one point, I was even selling things on eBay. Like I would, that's how I made money during law school. I would buy things from the park, limited edition event merchandise or whatever, and I would sell it. So I was there a lot. So easily hundreds of times. And then if you add in, if not thousands of days in the parks, and then if you add in multiple trips to Disneyland, yeah, a lot, very, very much.
So the follow-up,
Yep.
So the follow-up question would be, how many times have you been down since you moved to New York? Is it about the same, or is it takes a little bit more planning
well,
to go?
It takes a little bit more planning. It does. It definitely takes a little bit more planning, but we try to get down there at least 2 or 3 times a year.
It's cool.
So, and if I don't use DVC, I can use a travel agent discount at an offsite property or sometimes on site, depending on the circumstances. And so we still try to go regularly, and then or if maybe we'll do like a Disney week at Disney World, and then we'll do a Disney cruise because we really enjoy that more and more because it's not as crazy. I mean, you still get the Disney experience, but it's not as crazy as the parks. But I ended up, our longest stay, I think, was inadvertently because of the hurricanes that happened a couple of years ago. We got booted off of our Disney cruise. And they brought us back into port, and then we couldn't find, and we had a follow-up cruise. We were doing back-to-back cruises, and the other cruise got canceled, and then we couldn't find flights out. And so we spent like 2.5 weeks on property. So that's not typical. Yeah.
So what you're saying is you were stranded in the most magical place on earth, and you didn't mind.
I did not mind. In fact, I was actually sharing video during the hurricane. We were in Saratoga Springs, and I was sharing video outside of the rain and the trees being knocked down. And the next day, I was taking video for people and sharing that. I actually think I shared that to the Mouse Chat page. Just all the trees down and stuff. What was amazing about that is the day after the hurricanes passed, they're out there immediately cleaning up and getting things reopened.
Yeah, that's Disney,
They're
all in.
Incredible. Yeah, it was incredible.
So my next question is, you kind of answered it already for me. Do you stay on site or off site? And you say you stay both.
Yeah, typically on site. I much prefer on site.
That was going to be my follow-up question. But
yeah. Yeah. Oh, well, and the reason why is because you do have that Disney bubble, right? I mean, you don't have to think about anything, right? No. You're just encapsulated in all of that, and the real world gets shut out for however long you're on property, which is awesome. Versus offsite where you're going back into the real world but I mean, I've done everything. I mean, I've done a Holiday Inn offsite. I've done an Airbnb offsite where you have all that space and you have a private pool, and that's nice too. But like now Disneyland, I typically like to stay on site, even though there's so many options close to the parks within walking distance of Disneyland.
Okay.
Like I've stayed at a Howard Johnson nearby Disneyland, and that was fine. It was perfectly
Hojo.
great. Hojo,
You
yeah,
got-
it was.
You stayed at a Hojo and
I've
you got a
stayed,
good
yeah,
breakfast, right?
yeah.
They used to do breakfast. They
Not
used to have
anymore.
Hojo restaurants.
Yeah, yes, I'm old enough to remember that. But like my favorite would be to stay on property, and especially at Disneyland. If given the choice, I would stay every trip at the Grand Californian.
Really?
Yeah.
That's like I said, when it's time for us to take that plunge and
Yes,
make
please get
that
in touch, and I'll
and
walk you through everything. Yeah.
airfare is going to be pretty cheap right about
Oh yeah.
it's coming
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah.
So what time of year do you prefer being down there in Disney? Well, other than the fact that you're moving to the Sunshine State, which will be every time. If you had a peak season or a peak time of the year, which one would you prefer?
Um. I really like Christmas. At Disney time, Christmas time is always really special because the resorts are so beautifully decorated, the parks are so beautifully decorated, and I'd like to think people are just a little bit nicer to one another during the Christmas season, during the holiday season.
Yeah.
And it's not even about like the Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, because I haven't done one of those in a couple of years. Just I love seeing how they decorate, and I love going to the hotels and seeing all the huge trees and all of that. My wife would probably tell you that her favorite is Halloween time, October, September. Well, her birthday's in September, so we always like to try to get down there anyway during that time. And there's something to be said about Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. That's always great fun.
Candy. That's
the candy,
the
free
word.
candy, free candy. Yes, free candy. Yes.
How could you go wrong?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, I mean, and in this, when do you get stuff for free, right? So,
and so one of our friends said something here. Jeff said, "Oh, how terrible! Stranded 2 weeks in Disney property."
But yeah, it was awful. I don't recommend it. I mean, no. I mean, at least the parks were only closed for like a day or two, and we had annual passes because.
Well, listen,
yeah.
I think this is the. I think I remember a couple of years ago, someone said the only time that Disney has ever closed was for one hurricane. So this current situation, and they're closed for how long? This is unprecedented. Unprecedented. What's the word?
Unprecedented. Yeah, you had it.
Unprecedented. Yeah. This is what when I'm teaching, because I'm also a state fire instructor for New York State. So when I'm doing it and I'm teaching a class, and I know the word, it's right there on the tip of my tongue, and then I go to speak it, and I just muddle it all up, and my students laugh at me all the time.
Yeah. But yeah, it definitely is unprecedented, and I have to wonder how they're going to reopen, and like, are they going to reopen in stages?
Well, I've heard the talk is that they're talking about stages, and they're talking about temperatures. They're talking about doing away with the finger scanner. Who knows? I mean, today's day and age, everything's changed. I mean,
I don't think you could probably there's got to be some kind of lead up time for them to reopen. Like, I'm sure they just can't reopen the doors, right away. And hey, come on in. I mean, they've got to order food and get staff, and who knows how many people they're going to furlough, and will those people come back? And
well, I got to say, while Disney's the last time they had mentioned that they had closed indefinitely, I think that was more for their employees as far as the unemployment insurance that they can take and go. Where I think Universal came out and said, we're going to be closed for another 2 weeks. Their employees have to go to the unemployment office or try to get the unemployment, and they were like, well, you guys are going back in 2 weeks. Where Disney employees were like, they're closing us indefinitely. So I think that was a good play on Disney's part. If that's why they did it for their employees, so they can actually go out and get the unemployment insurance to help them out a little bit. I'm hoping that's how it went.
I know they're all eager to get back to work, and
I would too.
And we're just as eager to be back there. And that's an interesting question though, Tracy. I'd welcome anybody's thoughts on this. I mean, do you think people are going to rush back there, or do you think there's going to be more of a let me wait and see what happens, and is there going to be another wave of this
kind
of thing?
The only thing I can think of is, I think I just seen something that scrolled across my Facebook, and they're saying that they're forecasting some of the crowds to be down. I don't think this is like the September 11th. I mean, September 11th was a huge hit for Disney.
Yeah.
2001.
Yeah.
It took them a long time to come out of that. I mean,
Yeah.
to
Well,
come
yeah,
out of that
sure.
funk.
Yeah. That Art of Animation expansion didn't
So
open for years. Yeah.
that was considered a whole
Yeah.
nother
Yeah.
a whole nother
Wow.
resort altogether. And then
Yeah.
they went through, and once they started building back up, they
Yeah.
rebuilt
But
it and said they called it Pop Century. I think it was
yeah,
supposed to be something, not Pop Century. It was
legendary
supposed to
years. Yeah. They were. Yeah.
be, so I'm hoping it's not as bad
Yeah.
as Jeff said. I read today that Norway and Germany are ramping up employees starting in August. Can't wait until August for Epcot. Yeah.
Yeah. They canceled their internships and their cultural representatives, which normally report June 1st. So I don't, but I can understand why they would do that.
I'm hoping for July, Bob.
Yeah.
July.
I'm hoping for everybody. I mean,
Yeah,
for
well,
for the employees, for the economy. Yeah.
me
Yeah.
personally, I have a trip in July that I don't
Oh,
want to miss.
it's
just
pretty.
after
Yeah.
just after the 4th. I mean, because our first trip ever was in August, so we're used to the heat and the humidity.
I was gonna say, okay,
and so
yeah.
yes, July is going to be hot. Yes.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that you're going to see a lot of people come back, and I don't know if it will last. You might see a rush those first couple months, and we don't
Yeah.
know the long-term effects, or say the year out projection.
Yeah.
Is it going to be, they're going to open up, people are going to rush to the huge Disney fans. They're going to say, let's get down there, let's get back into parks, let's move it. What's this? What are the people that think that save up to go down to Disney like once a year or once every 2 years? Are they going to say, hold off, let's see what's going on? Maybe let's not go back this year because they're doing their anniversary next year. Does that make a difference?
Yeah. I mean, if it's your once in a lifetime trip, or I mean, maybe,
So
maybe,
a lot of it, I think you have to just. I'm hoping that we don't take a hit. I mean, we've been down there recently, Bob. I'm assuming you've been down there recently, and you definitely know the crowd levels are pretty high.
Yeah. They were on a roll for sure. I mean, all the parks, even their low crowd levels are.
Yeah, I think Len Testa back in the day, who used to be on another podcast I listened to, which I'll shamelessly plug, which was called WDW Today.
Yeah.
He was the guy who came up with touring plans, and he had the touring plans, and he has the touring plan credit calendar and all that
He's
stuff.
a nice guy.
I have never met. That's one of the people, thinking back, other than you and a couple other podcasters. I would love to meet Len Testa. I think the guy took Disney, and made a business on an offshoot of Disney, and they didn't really go after him, which is great. I mean, he's made a living off of using an algorithm that works out well for the. Granted,
Right.
Disney has thrown a bone into touring plans between the fast passes and the paper fast, or between
right. I think it's like a
a
constant reworking and retooling of things, and they're probably going to have to retool things once the parks do reopen. And I saw somebody commented and said, I think Epcot will open first if they decide to open in stages. And maybe that's the park they start with. I don't know.
Welcome in Stacy Rogers. Stacy Rogers, the mod of all streams. She is a excellent mod, a mod extraordinaire, and I've given her the nickname of mod of all streams. Thank you for being here.
Welcome.
So, what season do you prefer? Not what season. I just read you that one, didn't I?
Yeah.
What resort do you mostly stay at? I mean, when you're going down there most of the time, what resort is like, this is the one that I normally go to, and it's well,
I think we were talking a little bit before we went live, and even though we own at Bay Lake and we've stayed there, it seems like it's hard to book 10 months, 11 months out. So we tend to one reason, for whatever reason, a lot of times we will spur of the moment say, oh, let's go down in 2 weeks, if we can.
Yeah, with
So you
today's
kind of take
DVC.
yeah, so you end up so we stay DVC a lot, and of course when you're booking last minute, you end up at the properties that have the most space. So we end up at Saratoga Springs a lot.
Okay.
But we like it there. I mean, we like the pools, we like the cast members there. We like taking the boat over to Disney Springs, and enjoying what they have to offer. So we like that. In terms of resorts, I love Yacht and Beach Club. Either yacht or beach club side. Yacht club side is quieter. If you're not there with kids, I'd say go to the yacht club side because it's more businessmen. It seems like more convention people, so it tends to be quieter. Beach club is more families. That just the lazy river, that huge Stormalong Bay, beaches and cream, proximity to Epcot. That's awesome. Yeah, I love them all, but I tend to stay a lot at Saratoga Springs. But I think that's just because space.
Mama Mouse in the house. Welcome, Mama Mouse. Myers in the Mouse. That's Mama Mouse. She's an excellent YouTuber, a good friend of ours. Where would you like to stay that you haven't stayed before? Is there a resort you haven't stayed at, Bob?
Yeah. Let's see. I mean, I know that I haven't stayed at. Well, yeah, especially with the new ones opening. I haven't stayed at the new Wilderness Lodge DVC, and those look amazing. I'd love to stay there. The new what is it? The Riviera Resort.
Okay. Yep. That's one of the new ones.
Yeah, I'd love to stay there. That looks really nice.
Yeah.
And being on the Skyliner, I don't know if you've had the opportunity to do that yet.
We rode the Skyliner. We were not staying at a park with the Skyliner, but we had made our choice to jump over there and take that Skyliner ride in November of last year. So we made it a point to go over there.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's so convenient. I think it's great. So yeah, I think Riviera is probably on my list. I've always wanted to stay at Coronado Springs.
Really?
I never have. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Welcome in, Zippity Doo Dad. If you don't know Zippity Doo Dad, he is an excellent channel out there, and usually he asks people, "Hey, do you know Zippity Doo Dad?" And some people say yes, and some people say no. But Zippity Doo Dad is a great channel. Any of you people in the chat who are not a fan of Zippity Doo Dad, I graciously ask you to go over there and subscribe to him.
I like the name. That's cool.
Oh, and he is a great guy. He's from the Boston area, and just to hear him say "smallpox" every once in a while,
right? just to hear the accent, right?
Just to hear the accent. And what's weird is like this weekend, tomorrow, my daughter was actually supposed to go to an anime con out to Boston this coming weekend, and my wife was asking me to drive her out to Boston. And I was going to try to meet up with a couple of people that live out that way. There's a couple of channels that live out in the Rhode Island, Boston area. They had said, "Hey, if you're ever out this way." So, and again, current times, it got canceled, so we're not going.
Yeah.
But one day I'm going to definitely meet Zippity. Well, actually, I've met Zippity Doo Dad face to face. He's excellent. And him and another guy named Steve from Steve's World. Both of these guys, they do a channel. They had a show last night that they probably went on for another hour after I went to bed. They go from like 9 o'clock to whenever they decide to stop. And
this is amazing. I mean, I'm making myself sound like I don't know anything about technology, but this whole thing is really cool with all you guys jumping in with all your different YouTube channels and posting links. And I think this is so cool that there's this
exists.
Yeah, that this exists, that there's still this community out there, and this allows like people to go live and like live from the parks, or technology is just getting so much more from where it was when I started podcasting. I mean, the opportunities out there and the things that you can share. this is great. I'm so glad to see all of this and see the love that people have for
Well,
all of it.
and it was a shot in the dark when I got a hold of you yesterday, and just brought it out to you and saying, hey, listen, I didn't know if you were still active in the Disney community. I think
I
I wasn't sure.
love
I was
it.
taking a shot in the dark.
Yeah, no, I'm so grateful for you to reach out. I mean, I didn't think anybody remembered me from that podcast. So
I do, because I mean there was two or three that I listened to on a regular back in the day. Now I have a couple more that I've listened to. There's a couple of podcasters out there that if I'm in the car for more than 2 minutes, because I drive two minutes to work, and it's amazing that I can drive that short. But if I'm in a car, there's a couple podcasts that are out there that's amazing to listen to. Brandy and Dave has a podcast called Disfluencers, and they interview people that in the Disney community that's either podcasters, live streamers, or in different communities. Instagram, you wouldn't believe how big the community is when you just stick your toe into it, and the community gets a lot huger. It's amazing community, and
yeah,
I'm
I'm
happy that I joined in.
Yeah, I'm
And
seeing just the just the few here that are that's awesome.
and right now, Bob, we have 15 people watching us.
Okay.
Okay. On an average, I think last night, I think Zip, if you're in the chat, still in the chat, and you could tell me how many people they were currently watching them last night. I think they were up to probably a couple hundred, because I didn't catch how many people they were in their stream. Friday night on for Resort TV 1, we were down there in or I'm just saying they'll have a couple thousand people watching their Friday night live stream from Disney. If I'm not mistaken, it's Stacy Rogers in the chat. She will definitely throw out the number. They live streamed the last night of Illuminations from
from Epcot, right? And
from Epcot. I think, Stacy, correct me if I'm wrong, I think they had upwards of 14,000 people watching their stream.
Wow, that's cool.
And they had more people watching Resort TV 1, if I'm not mistaken, than Disney's own live stream. I'm sorry. Stacy Rogers corrected me. She said they almost had 15,000 people watching one person's live stream from. And you think you're looking at the chat here? Could you imagine 15,000 people trying to say hi, or even out of those 15,000, 1,000 people trying to
trying to keep up? No, that's incredible, and I know it. It comes in time too. I mean, no podcast has overnight success, and
no.
I imagine it's the same way with any kind of a live stream. But Mike, I think, commented and said this is an amazing community, and then he said no, it's a family, and
right.
That's what I miss.
And this is an amazing family. My daughter was live streaming yesterday, and what she said is what she likes about the streaming and this community that I got into was business dad or work dad disappears more often when I'm home, and I get more of Disney dad, which is the happy go lucky.
Yeah, well, this is I think a great way to feel that connection to the parks when you can't be there, whether you are 30 minutes from the parks or 30 hours from the parks.
And there's a lot of us in the community, and a lot of us in the chat that don't get down there as much as we normally we would like to, or we live that far away, and that's what's good about some of these the streamers that are out there. I highly recommend, if you would choose to jump in and just take a peek at what's going out there tonight. Even though the parks are closed, these streamers are still streaming. Have you ever seen Yeehaw Bob?
The entertainer, the guy,
the piano player over at
I don't think I've ever watched him perform. I know of him, but I've never watched him.
Tonight there's one of the Thursday night streamer who does streams from the parks on Thursday nights. This guy's named Corey Meets World. Excellent guy, family friendly, and that's the other thing. All of these communities and all of these channels, and especially in this community, we're all family friendly. You don't have to worry about your kid who's 5. You don't have to worry about your kid who's 2 watching any of these streams, whether they're from the park or whether they're from, a home studio, the 30 Days of Studio here in upstate New York. You know what I mean? There's not our chat. That's why we have moderators. Our moderators make sure that any inappropriateness in the chat is deleted or taken care of. If somebody does something in there more than once, they'll take and actually delete that post. And we try not to swear. We don't try to be inappropriate. So what's great about this community is it's always nice, family friendly. And there was a guy named Dean who got a hold of Resort TV One, and he said, "What I would love to do is make a website or get a website together and congeal and bring all of these websites together, all these live streamers together." And he calls it the Live Place, and liveplace.com. It's like it's the TV guide for live streamers. It's the TV guide for live streamers. You can go on there, and he's got live streamers. I think he's got over 80 or 90 or close to 90 live streamers on his schedule, so you can see what's coming up throughout the week or what coming up throughout the day, and they're all family friendly. Bob, it's great, and that's why I reached out to you, because I'm hoping that you would say yes, and then say,
yeah, I'm having a great time.
I'm having a great time. This is the first time. Usually it's me and my daughter, and I don't know what to talk to her about sometimes because we're here together all the time. So, but we have a good chemistry next to each other. We've done some live streaming down at Disney ourselves. Yep. It's a great time. And I'm happy. I'm super happy that you're here, that you came on. I have a couple more questions.
Yeah, please.
It's almost like a lightning round, if you don't mind.
That's fine.
Because it's in 4 minutes. Dreaming with the Mouse with Diz Our Dream and Myers and the Mouse. If my mods would love to drop that link in there, they're going to start at 5 o'clock, and they could also put what channel that's on tonight, because it's 2 different channels. They do a combination. So one of them will be on Myers and the Mouse channel today or this week, and next week they'll be over on Diz Our Dreams channel, and they'll stream on that channel. So they're going to start at 5 o'clock. Thank you, Mike Wheeler. You dropped down. It's this week. It's on Myers and the Mouse. What is your favorite park?
Magic Kingdom.
Magic Kingdom. Mm-hmm. What is your favorite ride in any park?
Splash Mountain.
Oh, yeah. That's my wife's least favorite ride. Hi, Surfer Girl. Still behind you, baby.
Although close favorite, Haunted Mansion Holiday at Disneyland, because the Nightmare Before Christmas overlay is insane.
I would love that. That's one of the biggest reasons. And if I do get out there, it's got to be during the Halloween overlay.
Haunted Mansion Holiday, and if you hit it during Christmas time, their Small World Christmas overlay is insane. I don't even like Small World, but it's incredible out there. So those are. But on any given day, it'll be Splash Mountain. So Zippity Doo Dad, yeah, that's why I really like your name, because favorite ride. So, yeah.
What is your favorite restaurant?
Ooh, probably Les Celliers. And I haven't been there in a while, but Citragos too.
Citragos.
But yeah, I tend to eat a lot at Les Celliers. I really like the steaks there.
I can't justify the 2 dining credits, but now that I'm paying cash for most of my stuff, I guess I'll try that out sooner or later. What restaurant would you like to eat at that you haven't eaten there already?
Ooh, there's so many new ones.
Good ones, new ones too.
Yeah, I've heard the breakfast at what is it? Topolino, the new restaurant at
Japan.
No.
I think we're doing that up in we have that scheduled for July up in the Riviera.
Yes, I want to do that because I've heard really good things about the breakfast there and the character interaction. I've also always wanted to eat at the Wave, and I never have. At the Contemporary.
For me, I think the one place that I would love to eat at that we've never eaten at was La Cellier.
Oh, well.
I do want to try it. So I want to thank you, Bob, for coming.
Thank you for having me.
I'll once we stop going live, I'll keep you backstage for a while. We'll do a little cleaning up.
Okay.
I want to tell everybody here in the chat, thank you for showing up for my 3rd Thursday episode. I thought it went very well, and I'm glad that I brought somebody in that bounced a little bit and has a love for Disney just as much as we do. Please jump over to Dreaming with the Mouse and enjoy their time. Tell them that Kenzie Days' dad sent you.
Thanks for having me again, and thank you guys for chatting with us. And I hope you enjoyed, and hope to see everybody again sometime.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah. All right.
So
Take care.
Now I have to go and end the broadcast.
Dance out.
Dance it out.